The left. Got
He's crucifying his opponents. David Adeleye is a heavyweight straight out of the golden era of the 90s. Everything he does in the ring is aimed at knocking his opponent out with every punch. Many compare him to a young prime Anthony Joshua, but David is even more ferocious and possibly insane. When he hit the canvas for the first time in his life, he laughed like a madman and jumped right back into the fight. His young career is filled with knockouts and titles, and he might just be the one to become the next undisputed heavyweight champion. But where did this savage knockout artist come from? Born on November 16, 1996 in London, this lad grew up admiring legends such as Lennox Lewis, Muhammad Ali, and Roy Jones Jr. David was obsessed with boxing, but his parents had different plans for him. In their view, he had to get a higher education first, and then he could focus on boxing. In other words, they didn't take his passion seriously, which in hindsight was a big mistake. David still got his higher education. In 2018, he graduated from the University of Wolverhampton with a degree in business administration. Even his dissertation was about boxing, specifically the business side of professional boxing. And while at university, he never abandoned his dream, combining amateur boxing with his studies. Let's talk about David's amateur career. It all began at the Dale Youth Club at the age of 14 under the guidance of Gary McGuinness. In May 2013, he became the English junior champion at the ABA tournament in the under-91 Kiju category. In 2017, he won the ABA novice category. David also conquered one of the ABA senior tournaments in 2018. Moreover, that same year, Adeleye represented England at an international tournament against Denmark and won gold at the British Universities and Colleges Amateur Boxing Championships. David's professional career began in the summer of 2019 when he signed with Frank Warren's British promotional company Queensberry Promotions. On December 21, 2019, he made his professional debut against experienced Lithuanian fighter Dmitry Kalinowski. Let's take a look at that fight and try to do it without tears. His first professional bout took place in London and was scheduled for 4 rounds, but spoiler alert, David needed less than 1. Problems for the Lithuanian started about 15 seconds in. David drove Dmitry to the ropes and began unloading to the head, body, head. Adeleye was firing shots like a cannon. Judging by Kalinowski's face, he wasn't expecting this from a debutant. Too many heavy punches were landing clean on his head. Dmitry occasionally fired back with head combinations of his own, but the replies he received were even harder. Eventually, the referee took pity on the Lithuanian's head and stopped this one-sided game. A meaty start.
Management by Jonathan Barnett. Looks after one Gareth Bale. There's a bit of a sideline. And there's many others.
Just forgetting about the fence there. I'm taking a right hand, but obviously I'm going to get his opponent up there, so just settle down a bit. It's a good shot. Dip the legs with that right hand.
Kalinowski felt the weight of that. His last... Okay, he's a journeyman. Let's not build him up to be something he's not. But his last 16, he's gone the distance.
Oh, 2 good right hands there, though, for Kalinowski.
Well, that's going to test his chin. I think he's woken Big David up. And the referee says...
David's second pro fight took place on July 10, 2020. This time, his opponent was fellow Brit Matt Gordon. Once again, the fight was in London at home. It's worth noting that before the bout, Adeleye looked sharp. Predators glare on. At the stare down before the fight, he even bumped foreheads with Gordon. From the middle of the first round, David began testing his opponent's durability. Hooks were landing after jabs, but no immediate effect yet. Gordon only occasionally jumped out from behind his guard and tried to counter. In the final minute of the round, Adeleye started loading up more, swinging hard to the body as well. These shots began to make Gordon stagger a little. Clearly, David wanted to repeat his debut success and finish it in round 1. But patience.
There and hammers in those big hooks.
Taking a couple of good shots, and he's boxed clever on the back foot, but it's been Adeleye's round.
Adeleye came out aggressively, firing to the head and body and steadily cutting off the ring, pressing Gordon to the ropes. He clearly wanted to end it quickly. Just over a minute in, Matt began wobbling under the barrage of shots from David's full arsenal. Gordon would occasionally answer back, but it was more of a woof than a punch, wasting precious energy. With 30 seconds left, David started mauling him. Gordon went down.
Dubois, and he's looking to finish it here, you sense, and the right hand puts Gordon down, and it was the cumulative.
Got back up, but the referee took one look into his eyes, understood everything, and stopped the fight. Adeleye's second win, another stoppage, this time in round 2. David's third fight took place a month and a half later, on August 29, 2020, again in London. This time, his opponent was fellow Brit Phil Williams. Once again, David was exuding confidence before the fight. Right from the start, body shots rained down on Williams. This time, however, Adeleye was more cautious, not rushing in recklessly. He mixed in head and body shots with care. Towards the end of the round, there was a bit more aggression and even some clinch wrestling, but the referee quickly broke them up. Just before the bell, there was a small exchange of jabs and hooks, but both remained on their feet. The round opened with powerful slaps from David, a good morning wake-up call. The pressure increased and his shots were landing far more effectively. One thing notable about Adeleye is that he always tries to control the center of the ring. Williams, on the other hand, looked clearly puzzled by the onslaught. The 1-2s and combinations were finding their target, while Phil ran out of ideas and went deep into defense. The round was 100% Adeleye's. He was hunting his opponent down. Now it was complete domination. Adeleye kept landing clean combinations and holding the center of the ring. Feeling his opponent's weakness, David started to toy with him, going into full flow. The referee stepped in to stop the beating, though Phil managed to remain on his feet. And so, Adeleye scored his third consecutive stoppage win. David's next opponent was yet another Brit, Danny Whitaker. The fight took place on November 28, 2020, and yes, once again in London. Interestingly, before this fight, David looked much more mature and composed. The first round was almost calm. Both fighters were studying each other, getting used to the distance. It seemed like nothing exciting was coming, but the second round also began measured. The shots weren't landing clean. Then suddenly, Whitaker goes down like a sack of potatoes.
5 amateur fights, but he went up to 22 stones at one stage. He's still 18-8 now, and down he goes.
2, 3.
A clean shot to the head. The count begins. He gets up and tells the referee, "I'm fine." Just 3 seconds later, he's back on one knee, and the count starts again.
It's the ball rolling now.
I'm going through the gears, and the referee pushes him away, and
He gets up, but doesn't want to continue. When Whitaker went down the second time, it looked like he did it on purpose, understanding where things were headed. This, in my opinion, was an extremely easy win. I think we all know why. David's fifth opponent was again a British boxer, professional debutant Dave Preston. The fight took place on March 26, 2021. David started the fight confidently, pressing his opponent to the ropes, patiently waiting for the right moment, working the body. This paid off just 1:10 into the first round, when Preston got drilled with a perfect liver shot, and that was that.
Gap and just stay on the outside, and oh, what a left up to the body that was.
well, there you see the difference between a big heavyweight and a man who's a cruiserweight. Is he going to be able to get up? I'm not sure he is. It's all on.
The fight was over. Fifth win by stoppage. The sixth fight, finally, not a Brit. This time, his opponent was Polish boxer Kamil Sokolowski. The bout took place less than a month after David's previous fight, on April 24, 2021, once again in London. I'll say up front, this was a much tougher fight for Adeleye, but let's go step by step. A cautious feeling out process, studying each other. Almost nothing happened in the opening round. It was clear neither man wanted to risk trading big shots. This was a different level of boxing. If they threw, it was rare but accurate. You could see it wasn't easy for David, mostly jabs from both sides. In the third round, David took some solid shots, something we hadn't really seen before. He was loading up heavily on his punches, but many were missing. Sokolowski, too, looked very tired by the end of the third.
Sokolovsky still on the front foot. It's been a slightly better round this, though, for Adeleye.
In the fourth, neither took risks, only short, cautious exchanges.
Slight ironic smile. He knows he'd been caught.
In round 5, David started landing some sharp jabs. Sokolovsky occasionally seized the initiative, not letting David rest, even managing to press him to the ropes. At the end of the 6th, David caught the Pole's mistakes and tried to finish the fight early, but made plenty of his own, so time ran out. David still won by a narrow points decision, 58-57. This was the first truly tough fight for Adeleye. Bulgarian boxer Mladen Manev was David's 7th opponent. As we can see, Adeleye was very active in terms of fights per year, and this one was no exception. The bout took place on July 24, 2021 at the now iconic Wembley Arena. Adeleye was noticeably faster, landing several successful attacks thanks to his movement. Manev tried to break through, but David kept him at range. In round 2, David began landing strong, penetrating jabs and wearing his opponent down. 1-2s and hooks from David were landing with ease, so it was no surprise that by round 3, Manev was clearly tiring. He occasionally rushed Adeleye, but was mostly troubling the air rather than his opponent. In the 4th, Manev overplayed his hand. It looked like he injured his leg. David immediately capitalized, pressing him to the ropes and unloading. The Bulgarian tried to clinch, but it didn't help. David's uppercut still found its target.
Adeleye, and believes, I think, that Adeleye put the nuts on him. Oh, great shot! Terrific uppercut, and I think that might be the end. Is he going to be able to get up? Will he want to get up?
Manev got up, determined to fight on, but David's task now was just to finish him, and he did. Manev looked panicked, not knowing what to do. Then came a hook straight to the liver, and this time the Bulgarian didn't get up.
Touch, then sink something better. There you go.
Well, I think that he's finished. The referee.
Another emphatic win for Adeleye. The 8th opponent for the dangerous Brit was Czech boxer Dominik Musil. Fight date, November 12, 2021. David looked extremely confident, immediately landing good shots on the Czech. Musil tried to close the distance quickly, but the Brit controlled the situation. Hooks to the head and jabs kept Musil honest. The second began with successful combinations to Musil's body and head. David slipped shots well and landed a beautiful uppercut, meaning Musil was already in trouble in round 2. Right at the end of the round, David unleashed a brilliant flurry, but the bell saved the Czech. In the 3rd, Musil tried to recover, but David was in full control. There were jab bursts from the Brit, but overall, it was calmer than the 2nd. The 4th saw a jab-for-jab exchange. Adeleye again held the center of the ring. Midway through, David began landing crisp combinations straight to Musil's head. Dominik started to give ground. Everything David could think of was landing clean. One of these headshots bent Musil back into the ropes.
Last few seconds of the round. Oh, great shot! Tremendous shot, and he's almost out with that. The rope saved him from going.
At the count of 8, Musil signaled he was ready to continue, but the bell rang. A fantastic round from the Brit. And then came the news. Musil's corner refused to continue. Another impressive win for David, back to pure British boxing. On April 23, 2022, David Adeleye faced Chris Healy in what was already his 9th professional fight. We can skip straight to when it all happened. A heavy barrage of punches from David landed on Healy's head, and the referee stopped the fight.
What they believe in knockouts.
Ooh, right hand comes in, and this fight's going to be called after that shot. Right hand that sent back Chris Healy.
That was the gear shift. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Elvis Garcia from Mexico was Adeleye's next opponent. The fight took place on November 11, 2022, once again in London. The Brit moved well on his feet, dodging punches and landing sharp jabs to Garcia's head from the start. David exploded with a brilliant series of powerful shots to Garcia's head. Everything was landing, and within seconds, Garcia was on the canvas. He got up and tried to trade wildly, but within seconds he was down again. After lying there briefly, he rose a second time. It looked like David might actually get tired of punching him, but Garcia didn't last long. Soon he went down for the third time and decided not to continue. A very bright win for the Brit, his 10th. Next, on February 17, 2023, Adeleye faced Dimitro Bezus. The fight was for the vacant WBO European heavyweight title. Both fighters were undefeated at the time. Once again, the bout took place in London, and David entered as the favorite, a status he justified. David started strong, working the jab and surprising Bezus with a double hook. Problems for Bezus began almost immediately as he overcommitted with his right hand, a mistake that would cost him. By the end of the round, Dimitro was already down. Bezus started the next round better, even landing a good left hook, but repeated mistakes led to him getting caught clean on the jaw. He went down for the second time, barely beating the count.
Not a bad response from him. His opponent to close that gap down to that's not. Oh, you got a left hook. What a left hook that was. Yeah.
The referee stepped in and stopped the fight. On June 9th, 2023, David defended his newly won WBO European title for the first time against Emir Amadovic, a German fighter of Serbian origin. David methodically broke him down, landing everything he had, while Emir mostly held in clinches. Amadovic failed to come out for the next round. The fight against fellow Brit Fabio Wardley was Adeleye's first professional loss. On the line were Adeleye's WBO European belt, Wardley's BBBOFC British title, and the vacant Commonwealth Boxing Council title. The fight took place on October 28, 2023. For the first time in Adeleye's career, the fight was outside both London and the UK. In Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, both fighters started actively. Late in the opening, David landed a sharp left hook, but Fabio responded with a flurry, pinning David to the ropes. This time, David was the one hanging on in the clinch. The bell came just in time. Another fast-paced segment followed. Early on, David's stiff jab to Fabio's head led to more clinching, with both fighters sneaking punches inside. The exchanges often ended in clinches. David's jabs found their target, but Fabio exploded with a barrage of punches. The pace and intensity were high.
The whole centre ring, Woodley having none of it, lands another good right hand. This is very positive stuff from the man from Ipswich.
And Adeleye, I think, will be spoken to again.
Later, Fabio unleashed two sharp jabs, catching David off guard, then landed two body shots near the liver. David covered up on the ropes, but still fired back. Another clean jab from Fabio landed, followed by a furious combination. David was now clearly fighting second.
I don't know if he was expecting Fabio Wardley to be quite as good as he is. Spoke a very good fight, Adeleye, in the build-up.
A wild exchange closed the next stage, with both throwing everything they had. David still kept the pace, but fatigue was visible. David opened strong with a good combination that landed clean.
As we head to the final 25 seconds of the fifth.
Yeah, well, look, he had the opportunity to build from that, David Adeleye, and he chose not to. I mean, you could call it patience, but he's allowed Fabio Wardley to get back into this round, landing a big right hand.
Problems mounted for David as he tired and leaned on Fabio. In one clinch, Fabio broke free and landed two clean hooks to the jaw, sending David to the canvas for the first time in his career.
Oh, big shot!
Tremendous combination from Fabio Wardley.
Smiling, he got up quickly, but Fabio swarmed him with jabs and hooks. David seemed lost, and the referee stepped in to stop the fight.
Has he got one? Strong shot, the left hook is the one that he's been trying throughout the contest. Wardley now opens up. Has he got enough time at the end of the 7th round? He has. The referee steps in. Adeleye.
The loss to Wardley had a big impact on David. He returned more than a year later, unusually long for him, on December 7th, 2024, aiming to prove his power. This time he faced the undefeated English heavyweight champion Solomon Dakers. The fight was back in London. From the opening seconds, David's aggression and intent to finish were clear. He landed a stunning shot to the top of Dacre's head, knocking him out cold.
A lot of introspection over the last 12 months or so from Adeleye's side after the defeat.
Oh, but what a way to respond! Dacres is in deep trouble immediately. It's called off. David Adeleye has come back.
The referee didn't even count. Solomon was completely disoriented.
Renewed belief. Adam Boo's only job tonight is to lift him into the air. What a return! And what...
David's most recent fight was against Jimmy Tshikeva on April 5th, 2025 in Manchester, part of a Queensberry Promotions event. Both started actively but cautiously. Early signs of clinching appeared, which would later play a big role. The action consisted mostly of probing jabs and frequent clinches. The referee was audibly unhappy, demanding they stop holding.
Usually gets around the guard of his opponents, but Adeleye, I think there's a bit more accuracy in his shot.
But Adeleye, more experience, and tries to get the uppercut going. Adam Booth in that blue corner of David Adeleye, giving him...
You can see Adeleye just waiting to make a mistake.
Yeah, it was nice. He slipped inside it.
Jimmy opened with active jabs, testing David's guard, but soon returned to holding, hanging on David in the clinch.
Jab going now, and
But again, he's dipping his legs before he throws it, and that's important there, because that sort of just makes it harder there for Adeleye to really commit to that.
Near the end, David pinned Jimmy to the ropes and landed a clean right hook, prompting another clinch.
from Adeleye, tries to whip in an uppercut. It just missed TKV, but that looked a hurtful punch.
Yeah, it tried to explode with the left hook as well. And even though those little twitchy movements are really...
David started aggressively, but was warned for a kidney shot.
He's just standing too tall when he throws that left hook there, I mean. So he's only a second off. Ready for that.
He can't do that.
Jimmy kept throwing short, ineffective jabs. David began openly mocking his predictable approach. The sequence, as usual, ended in a clinch. The middle stages were dominated by more holding. At the start of the later round, Jimmy again leaned on David, clearly out of ideas. David finally caught him with a close-range shot to the jaw, dropping him for the first time. Jimmy struggled to get up. He did rise, but David went into predator mode, unloading with everything he had. The clinch couldn't save Jimmy this time.
He promised. It's all Adeleye now. Left hand to get way down for the second time. And he's again looking at his corner.
Seeing Jimmy's condition, the referee stopped the fight. Another knockout win for Adeleye, proving his power despite a slow start.
I think, can he go on? No! David Adeleye becomes the one he has, can be detonated, and a rise. He's a British champion.
After this victory and winning the title, David got a chance to break into the top ranks of the heavyweight division. But to get there, he has to defeat another young prospect, Filip Hrgović. Do you think David can win and continue his path to the top?